very, very dreadfully nervous I had been, and why will you say that I'm mad? The disease had sharpened my senses, not destroyed, not dulled. Above all was the sense of hearing acute. I heard all things in the heaven and on the earth. I heard many things in hell. How then am I mad? And observe how calmly, how naturally I can tell you the whole story. This story is one of murder, of raving, and one of the most elusive topics in all of literature, insanity. Few topics have been so prevalently explored and remain so shallowly understood. What is insanity? Why does it come from? What can it lead to? And most importantly, has anybody ever been able to conquer it? Or does it remain a fate, truly inescapable? Today we'll be taking a look at three very different portrayals of insanity and continually asking ourselves these questions. In our first selection, an unnamed schizophrenic narrator is driven to kill a man simply because he finds the gaze of his eye disturbing and the telltale by his ear. About midnight, I turned the latch of his door and opened it. Oh, so gently. I watched his minute hands more quickly than he might. Then, when I made an opening sufficient for my head, I put in a dark lantern, all close, so no light shone out, and I thrust in my head. I was about to open it, a small crevice in the lantern, and I felt it slip in the tin fastening, and the old man moved in the bed suddenly as if startled. I resolved to open a very little opening in the lantern. Suddenly, a single ray shot directly upon the vulture eye, all dull blue with a hideous veil that chilled the very marrow of my bones. And have I not told you that what you mistake for madness is but an over-acuteness of the sense? Now I say it came to my ears a quick sound, much as a watch makes on the old beating of the old man's heart. Increased-like, as the beating of a drum stimulates the soldier into courage. The old man's owl with a loud yell, I flung over the lantern and leapt into the room. He shrieked once, and once only. In an instant, I dragged him to the floor and pulled the heavy bed over him. Yes, he was stone dead. If you still think me mad, you would think so no longer when I described the wise precautions I took for the concealment of the body. First, I took 3 planks from the flooring of the chamber, and then I deposited his corpse between the scaffoldings. Then I replaced the wood so cunningly, so cleverly that no human eye, not even his, could have told anything wrong. As the bell sounded the hour, there came a knock at the street door. Entered 3 men, who introduced themselves with perfect suavity as officers of the police. I shrieked up at my neighbor during the night they had been deputed to search the premises. I smiled. For what had I to fear? I bade them welcome. The shriek, I said, was my own, in a dream, and the old man was absent in the country. I took them all over the house and bade them search well. I even took them into the old man's chambers and showed them his treasures, undisturbed. I then brought in chairs, desiring them here to rest from their fatigues, while I myself, in the wild audacity of my perfect triumph, placed my own seat on the very spot beneath which reposed the corpse. The officer was satisfied. My manner had convinced them. Ere long, I took my seat. Wished them gone. Fancy the ringing in my ears. Suddenly the ringing became more distinct. It was a low, dull, quick sound, much as a watch makes when it got. I felt more vehemently, but the noise steadily increased. I arose and argued about trifles in the high key with violent gesticulations, but the noise steadily increased. What could I do? I foamed. I raved. I swore. I swung the chair on which I'd been sitting, and I grated it upon the board, but the noise arose over all and continually increased. Was it possible that they heard not? Was it possible? No. They suspected. They heard. They knew. They were making a mockery of my horror. This I thought, and this I think. Anything was more tolerable in this derision. Anything more bearable in this agony. I could bear the hypocritical smiles no longer. And hark, even now, louder, louder. Villains, dissemble no more. I admit the deed. Tear up the planks. Here, here. It is the beating of this hideous heart. In Poe's story, the narrator's guilt becomes a source of insanity in and of itself, forcing him to confess his sins. But are all madmen the perpetrators of such depraved crimes? In Shakespeare's Hamlet, the title character is portrayed as the victim of such a crime. Whereas the narrator of the Telltale Heart was driven by madness to murder his victim, Hamlet was driven to madness by discovering murder and corruption in his own family. In our next scene, Hamlet is visited by his father's ghost, who informs Hamlet that his uncle murdered his father and thus usurped the throne. In the tragedy of Hamlet, Prince of Denmark, by William Shakespeare. Whither wilt thou lead me? I'll go no further.
My hour is almost come, when I to sulphurous and tormenting flames must render up myself. Alas, the poor ghost pity me not, but lend thy serious hearing to what I shall unfold. I am thy spouse, doomed for a certain time to walk the night, and for the day confined to fasting flames until the hideous crimes done in my days of nature are burnt and purged away. Oh God! Revenge is foul, most unnatural murder. Haste me to know it, that I may swiftly sweep my revenge. I find thee out. Now, Hamlet, here. When I was sleeping in my orchard, a serpent stung me. Know thou, noble youth, the very serpent that did sting thy father's life, now wears his crown. My prophetic soul. My uncle? Aye, a dolt beast. One to his shameful lust the will of my most seeming virtuous queen. Oh, Hamlet, what a falling off was there from me, whose love was of that dignity, for a wretch whose natural gifts rapport to those of mine. Howsoever thou pursuest this act, take not thy mind. I bid thee now adieu, adieu, remember me.
Old my heart, and you my sinews, grow not instantly old. Alas, that poor ghost, whose memory holds a seat in this distracted globe. And now to my word, it is adieu, adieu, remember me. Hamlet was driven mad by the very thing that madness drove the narrator of the Telltale Heart to do, proving that insanity is sometimes both an effect and a cause. However, in the end, neither man was able to overcome his enemies, and it led them both to their demise. So now we've reached the most important question of all. Is there hope for the mentally afflicted? We can find the answer in the Gospel of Mark, chapter 5, verses 1 to 20. And they came to the other side of the sea, to the country of the Gadarenes. And when Jesus had gotten out of the boat, immediately there met him out of the tombs a man with an unclean spirit, who was dwelling among the tombs, and no man could bind him, not even with a chain. For he had often been bound with shackles and chains he tore apart, and the shackles ripped in pieces. Neither could any man contain him. And always, night and day, he was in the mountains and in the tombs, crying and cutting himself with stones. But when he saw Jesus from afar off, he ran and worshipped, and cried out with a loud voice, saying, What have I to do with you, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? I implore you, my God, that you do not torment me. For Jesus had been saying to the demon, Come out of the man. And it asked him, What is your name? And the demon answered, saying, My name is Legion, for we are many. And they began to implore Jesus earnestly not to send them out without food. Now a large herd of swine was feeding near the mountains, and the demons began to plead with Jesus, Send us into the swine, that we may enter into them. And at once Jesus gave the permission. And the herd ran violently down the steep place into the sea and drowned. And they who had fed the swine and told him in the city. And they came to Jesus and saw the one who had been possessed and had the legion sitting and clothed at his right hand. They were afraid. And then he who had been possessed went and proclaimed in the Decapolis all the great things the Lord had done for him, and all marveled. In this passage of the Gospel, we see that insanity is something that can be healed by the Lord God. Jesus was able to conquer the demons of the man, even when no other man does. This is the key to understanding this seemingly ever-elusive power. It's simply another part of the human condition that only God can heal, proving our weaknesses, his strengths, ultimately, are reliant and dependent on him. And if something as powerful and intense as demon possession can be conquered by God, what possible